Hello everyone, I'm Santiago and today I'm going to be testing the Dark Souls franchise on the RTX 3060. So we're going to start with Dark Souls Remastered, the Dark Souls 1. So 4K on this one, VSync on because it's locked to 60, so we enable it anyway to avoid tearing. And we crank everything up to the maximum, except in motion blur, personal preference of course. I'm using a controller, so let's get started. So I'm in Firelink Shrine and I'm going to go directly into the one of the bottom areas that I remember in the first game being quite demanding. Blacktown, now I remember the name, which is not the most demanding part right now, but I like to go back there again just to relive some memories. So yeah, I mean, the 3 games in the franchise should be okay at 4K on this graphics card. They're not demanding at all, pretty old games at this point. Although Dark Souls 3 will be a challenge, I'm guessing. Some settings being lowered will be necessary. Okay. There we go. It's so dark. What a surprise. There we go. Found it. I'm going to ride straight through it. Avoiding the 2 gentlemen waiting for me. Hey guys! That was close. Run! Whoops, I forgot about that one. Please. I'm just trying to get to Blacktown. Coming through. There we go. So in the original game, if you didn't know, in the original PC version, the Prepare to Die edition, this part was running like 20 FPS, no matter what. It was using a single core. Now they fixed that in this version, which is great. You're not running to slow down in this area. You're going to probably run into slowdown when you're fighting Sif, the dog, with those effects on screen. Otherwise, you should be okay. Pretty easy to run, even looking into the distance here. So yeah, I think that's it for Dark Souls 1. I know, very short, but there's not much to say about it. Even in Blacktown, you're getting 60 frames at 4K max settings. And we're now jumping into Dark Souls 2. We're now on Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin, at 4K once again, and on the highest settings, except in motion blur. Again, not a big fan of motion blur, but it shouldn't change performance that much. So let's get back into the game. And as you can see, like on the previous games, we're locked at 60 frames, so I recommend using VSync on this one. We have more than enough GPU power to get through it. So yeah, this was, I remember playing this on the PlayStation 3, then we got this remastered version and, well, it was on PC as well, which made it change from DX9 to DX11, plus some other adjustments. So yeah, another very easy game to run at 4K on this card. Although this one has a few issues with controllers, sometimes PlayStation controllers don't want to work, which you can actually fix by using the Steam compatibility controller thing, which is what I'm doing right now for the PlayStation 5 controller. So I'm showing you very quickly HIT's Tower of Flame. It's been a while since I played this, and I'm super pissed that this game doesn't have cloud saving. I lost all my progress. I played this game for so many years. Oh well, I lost my save. That's why I'm playing the first levels. So yeah, it can get worse performance-wise, but it should be okay for the 3060. I mean, I played at 4K with an RX 570, and it was fine. I was getting some drops into the Rotten boss fight. Otherwise, it was okay. So yeah, I won't worry too much about it. Just enjoy it at 4K. Unfortunately, the servers are down. It's been like 6 months. They haven't fixed it just yet, so yeah, pretty disappointed with them doing that. But at least this version, what I like about it is that it has different enemy placements. So yeah, at least it feels different if you already played it. The original, I mean. Okay. Oh, whatever. Let's keep going. Let's go to the boss fight. I didn't even equip my my Estus flask. What is wrong with me? Let's try to do that super quick. There we go. Excuse me, sir. Please don't hit me. Okay. Oh, I thought he was going to fall. I tried that before. Come on. Nope, that doesn't work. Oh well. Anyway, I think that's enough Dark Souls 2. I think the interesting one is Dark Souls 3, definitely. But it was nice checking out the first and second game, despite servers Steam built down. So yeah, let's go to Dark Souls 3. And finally, Dark Souls 3. This will be the most recent one in the franchise, and the most demanding one, of course. So we're starting with 4K highest settings, as you can see, everything maxed out. Although motion blur, no thanks. And I'm in Pharaoh Keep, one of those swamp levels, toxic swamps. And as you can see, there are some drops below 60 here, especially when there is more effects on screen. I'm going to show you that in a second. But I don't think maximum settings at 4K in this case is worth it, so let's do a few quick tweaks. So we go back into the options. First, SSAO, let's put it on medium. Depth of field, you either disable it or put it on low. I think it still looks good enough. Shadows, medium. Lighting, medium. Effects, medium. Reflections, let's keep it on low. Water surface quality, I keep it the same. And the shaders, I like to lower those to low. That's the biggest performance difference for me, at least. So those will be my 4K settings to stay close to 60. Again, this is a game that is locked to 60 frames. But the VSync is very aggressive, so my advice is to enable fast sync on the Nvidia control panel, or if you have a G-Sync or FreeSync display, lock it to 60 and disable VSync on the Nvidia control panel. So let's see if we can maintain 60s at 4K. First we attack these monsters. So far so good. The demanding part is coming once I get into the toxic waters. I hated this level so much when I played this for the first time. And see that monster into the distance, there is one over there as well. Those will kill performance when they do certain effects. I'm probably going to die in a few moments. So let's say hello. There we go. Fat rolling my way out, please. Yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. Okay. Heals. So as you can see there, when I was very close to the monster and I got those effects close to the camera, it was quite catastrophic for the frame rate. I'll show you that again. So in catastrophic by it's into the 50s, so I think you can survive at 4K with these settings. The game still looks pretty good. You get the shadows, you get the good lighting, you get the anti-aliasing, which is pretty basic. Seems to be some sort of FX8A, but you also get the shaders on low that personally I haven't seen much of a visual difference. I think it's worth lowering, and you don't lose the minor reflections here and there. Still looks pretty good. So yes, more stuff is chasing me. It's getting worse and worse, but the frame rate is between 50 and 60, so if you would want to play at 4K, you can totally do so. Maybe 1800p is a better option in this case. So yeah, I might be doing now 1800p. Okay, so now we're doing 1800p, which is 3200 by 1800. On a 4K screen, looks super sharp, at least in my opinion, which is pretty the norm on the consoles nowadays, getting between 1600p and 1800p on 4K displays. And I'm using high settings, basically, without motion blur. And yeah, I think this will be the ideal way to play the game on this card. 60 frames per second. Stays there pretty consistently. Some minor frame time spikes. And you should have the leeway for when those effects show up, which is what I was looking for. If you want 4K 60 with these settings, you probably want to look at a 3060 Ti or something like that. So yeah, it shouldn't be super difficult to do. I think the most interesting test in this video is Dark Souls 3, definitely. That's why I'm starting with the higher resolutions. The good thing is if you don't have a 4K display, you can always go for good old 1080p and 1440p. You can max out the game very easily on those. So yeah, even with both of them attacking me, I'm still at 60 frames. So yeah, good stuff. More than capable GPU. And we're using 4 gigs of VRAM. No big deal. I'm so dead. Okay, time to do 1440p, I think. It's a good time. But as you can see, 1800p just fine, looks super sharp on a 4K display, as I said. And you get constant 60s. Alright, 1440p time it is. Of course, we're doing max settings, because we have more than enough GPU power to do so. So 1440p. We put it on max and we disable motion blur. And if I run back, well, you can clearly see 60 frames and we have basically half the GPU being utilized. So the GPU is not even noticing that we're running a game, basically. So yeah, I would say this is the best way if you don't have a 4K screen to play it. The second best way. Come on, attack me. Nice try. I spoke too soon. Holy hell. Okay. Come on. Firm ground. And they can be attacked by fire actually. If they stand on the fire, they lose health. Although I'm not planning into attacking anytime soon. Good. So very quick look at 1440p, as you can see just fine, even with multiple effects on the screen. I think it's time to do 1080p if you're interested. Really, I don't think it's worth doing. If you have a 1080p screen, just force 1440p using DSR and you should be good to go. But if you were curious, let's just try 1080p. Good old 1080p. So again, max settings. No motion blur, personal preference. Oh well, it looks blurrier, and we're using even less GPU. So again, 1080p screen, you can max it out just fine. Lock it to 60, enable fast sync on the Nvidia control panel. If you have a FreeSync or G-Sync display, just disable V-Sync on the Nvidia control panel once more, and the game will work perfectly fine. But again, my advice, if you have a 1080p display, force 1440p, you get no jaggies whatsoever. And you still have GPU power to spare. So yeah, that's the Dark Souls franchise. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me getting wrecked in Dark Souls 1, 2 and 3. I haven't played these in a while. At least now the servers are back up for Dark Souls 3, but Dark Souls 1 and 2 still have offline servers, which is a bummer. Hopefully they fix it, it's been 6 months. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching this video, I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see ya next time. Bye guys.